On this episode, we sit down with Mareen Alexander, respected criminal attorney and candidate for judge of Texas Criminal District Court 5 in Dallas County. With experience as both prosecutor and defense attorney, she offers a uniquely balanced perspective on justice, accountability, and the responsibilities of the bench. This is Civic Hub. Well, today on Civic Hub, I have Mareen Alexander, candidate for Criminal District Court number 5. Mareen, thanks for coming in.
Chris, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's kind of quickly talk about your journey to becoming an attorney, a lawyer, maybe what drove you into the field of law, and why you think you're a good candidate for court number 5.
Thank you. That's a really good question to know about somebody's background. I have always known I wanted to be an attorney. Maybe it's because as a child I talked too much. I was always a little argumentative and very determined and headstrong. So I think those qualities kind of go into many different directions, but law is one of them. I also knew at a very young age I wanted to be a criminal attorney. Just growing up, you see lots of unfair things, and I actually wanted to be a prosecutor. So that's why I went to law school. I knew when I went to college, I was going to law school and I was going to be an assistant district attorney somewhere. So I went to college in Austin at the University of Texas and then moved to Dallas to go to SMU Law. And while I was there, the focus at SMU seemed to be a lot of firms and civil work, but I still wanted to maintain, becoming a prosecutor. So I was able to get a job with the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, and it was a dream. It was everything I wanted it to be. It was fun. You felt like you were making a difference, but you can never tell how things are going to play out. And at some point, I decided that I needed to open up my own practice so that I could do the other side, which is criminal defense. And that's what I've been doing for the last 24 years. So I've practiced criminal law for 27 years, but for the last 24, I've run my own practice doing state and federal criminal work in all across the Metroplex.
So for the folks listening, you did fulfill the dream and became an ADA for Dallas County.
Correct.
Is it like what people see on TV, or what is the real side of being an ADA?
There is a lot of it that's like on TV. The difference is evidence doesn't come back in 30 seconds. Everything takes time. But the trial work is somewhat similar. It's exciting. The very first day you're there, you're probably going to be in trial. And that's how you learn. That's the training that you get. You're just in there and you make mistakes, you learn, you get trained. But the training really comes from being supervised by other experienced prosecutors and then just doing it. And that's why I think that experience is very valuable in being a trial lawyer, because when you tried cases from that perspective, when you move over to the defense, you have the perspective of how you did it from the state side. So you know what the prosecutor would be thinking, why they're using this as a strategy. You just have a little bit better perspective when you're trying your case as a defense lawyer.
Yeah, it's good that a lot of candidates say they're well-rounded. It's a stump speech that people give, but having that experience to be on the ADA side and then to be on the other side of the courtroom too really positions you well to then migrate up to the top and to sit on the bench because you understand both sides of the law. Was there a case early in your career that really stands out or that really moved you to reinforce why you got into law?
I'll say there was kind of a combination of two. So my very last case as a prosecutor, I was in the felony division, in the child abuse division. So those cases prosecuted people accused of physical and sexual abuse of children. Those are very difficult cases.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different emotional reaction to it. There are people who cannot be jurors in that case. There are judges that don't want to hear those cases. So it's a very emotionally charged type of case. So that one I did was very difficult. The facts were very difficult. The child had suffered a lot. Then when I went to the other side and started doing defense work, My very first trial as a defense attorney was second chair with a very experienced attorney on a very difficult case where you're defending a woman that is charged with locking her child in the closet and starving that child. And it was in the paper a long time ago. It was called The Girl in the Closet. And to switch your perspective from prosecuting for this child victim one day and then a couple of weeks later defending someone charged with starving their child and locking her in a closet, you learn really fast how your mind has to flip to be effective as an advocate for someone accused. And I think I really, it was very challenging, but I had a good teacher. And you also learn that once you do it, you get reinforced that, hey, this is really what the law is. It's advocating for whoever your client is and doing the best job that you can, emotions aside. So that experience taught me a lot about how this road is going to be as a criminal attorney. It is difficult at times. The cases and when people are charged with violent offenses or child abuse or any of those other kinds of cases, you get that question: how do you defend somebody like that?
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
to ask you that because
Mhm.
most people's gut reaction is,
Mhm.
how could you defend this type of person? But
Mhm.
most people don't understand is even the accused, because they're still accused, they haven't been
Mhm.
found guilty yet, they still have rights afforded to them by the Constitution.
That's correct.
Someone, we all have to, make sure we have our rights available to us.
That's right. And that is what the cornerstone of the Constitution is. And that's, I guess, how I feel every day. I'm a very proud advocate for the Constitution. And in doing that, you might be in situations where you're representing charges or people that you never thought you would. But I feel like you're doing great work because that's what our country is founded on. And the burden of proof to take away liberty is the highest. It's harder to take away someone's liberty than it is to take away your children. And I think for most people who have kids, your kids are your most valuable um, possession is the wrong word, but what you value the most. And in this country, it is harder to take away liberty than it is your kids. And so I think protecting the Constitution is such an important job, and I'm honored to have been doing it for the last 24 years.
Yeah. If you look ahead into the future of the judicial system, what challenges do you see for prosecutors, defense attorneys, and judges as we look into the future? Because, things do evolve, legal opinions do change.
hmm
Is there anything that you see as kind of maybe one or two challenges that you could share?
Well, I think probably what I'd say the most is the way Texas, Dallas County is a Democratic county, but Texas is not a Democratic state. And I think when churches and religion involves or affects court systems and processes and rights, it really is. It's dangerous because what we have seen are people's rights are being taken away that were already established. We've seen that over time, slowly, one by one, things are being challenged, things are being taken away, and people are scared. And
So you see
uh,
that slow erosion
I do. I mean, some of it has happened pretty
pretty
fast,
fast.
but I think if the state keeps the way it is, unfortunately, I think it's going to keep happening, and every community is at risk unless you're a Christian white community. But every other community is scared, and every community has already reasons to not trust the justice system, and things like ICE outside, um, taking people that are going to court for their, child custody cases or going to court for any kind of case, going to church, waiting outside schools. I mean, we how fast we got here is pretty scary. So I don't know. I can imagine how much worse it's going to get. I just don't know how fast it's going to happen.
So that kind of puts a spotlight on why local elections and local politics are so important. If you're speaking right now to the younger generation or really just everybody, why would you say it's so important to get to know your candidates at a local level? And what would you tell them to encourage them to come out and vote? Early voting just started. We've got another week, week and a half of primary voting. How would you get people out to the polls?
Well, I think the biggest push has been people are sick of things that are happening in our country. And you can say, I don't like this, I don't like that. But the only way you can make a difference is to get out and vote in your local elections and in your countrywide elections, But your voice matters at every level. You can see it changing at the local levels faster. So get to know your school board candidates, get to know your city council candidates, get to know who's running for mayor, get to know who's running for courts. It is amazing. A lot of the groups and uh, different places will put on forums with candidates, and you can go spend an hour, hour and a half, and get to know whose voice resonates with yours. Who do you think is going to do the best for your county, city, country? And I've seen a lot of young people or younger people coming out in the last year that I've been in on this campaign. A lot of younger people are coming out because I think they have realized I have a voice and I need to use it, because when I don't, we can see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. If there was one thing I would reinforce is change starts at the local level
Hmm.
and then it trickles up.
Correct.
We see a lot of trickle down stuff, but real fundamental change always occurs at the community level, at the local level. If you had one area that's a passion focused project for you, what would it be?
Well, in the 24 years that I've been doing criminal defense, I would say it was indigent defense. And for those that don't know what that is, it's, when you get arrested, they say you have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. So Dallas County has a system where private lawyers can be on a list called indigent defense, and the court will ask you to take certain cases or cases based on your qualifications. So you have to go through a process to be qualified to handle murder cases, capital murder cases. So not everyone on the indigent defense list can do those, but you're usually qualified to do some level of indigent defense. And because of my experience, I'm qualified to do all the way up to capital murder cases. And so that is very important to me, because with the experience and trial experience that I have tried over 150 felony jury trials as first chair. Um, People that are accused of crimes and can't afford attorneys, they still need quality representation. People that can go to trial and fight for them properly. People that know how to handle all the different types of cases. And so I have really seen the need for that. And so I have remained on that list for all 24 years. Generally, what happens is sometimes it gets frustrating and qualified attorneys fall off. They take their name off the list because it is frustrating. And obviously, it's not, you don't get on the list for financial reasons, but it's important work. And I think that is something, another protection that the Constitution gives is the right to counsel. And you need to have the right to good counsel, excellent counsel. And so I'm happy to be on that list and, never gotten off.
With that said, we'll, quickly wrap up here. What would be some leaving thoughts for you as to why you're that great candidate for judge?
Okay. Thank you for asking that. So, as I said, I've been practicing criminal law for 27 years in Dallas County. I have seen what happens from every angle in that courtroom. And I have seen the impact of judges, how they can change someone's life. I mean, a judge has a difficult job. They have to balance the justice for the victim and the community, and they also have to balance justice for the citizen accused, and that is not mutually exclusive. You also have to make sure that you are being fair to both sides, because whether you are the victim of crime, the family of the victim of crime, or the citizen accused, when you're in a felony courtroom, you're in the worst time of your life. And you've got to have somebody that has been an advocate for the both sides, that wants the judge to see both sides clearly and fairly. Um, Particularly in my last 24 years representing people that are accused, what we want as a community and what we need as a community to be safer is people not going in and out of the criminal justice system. We need people to, if they're in there, we need to get them out and get them into a productive track to be a productive member of society. And how you do that is partly figure out what got them there. And I think that's what I have been doing, standing with my clients, trying to um, show the judge or have the judge see this is why they're here, whether it's a drug addiction problem or a mental health issue or lack of resources. If those issues are addressed, a lot of times you don't see those people again, and they go on and they go to school and they get married and have families and have great jobs. And I get those emails and texts, and it makes me very happy and thankful and proud to be a part of that journey with my clients. So I think that experience, and I want to be the kind of judge that I wanted for my clients. And I think with my experience, I'm also board certified in criminal law. I'm the only candidate in my race that is. That is just a level of excellence in criminal law. And I think my combination of experience and qualifications and commitment to fairness make me stand out as a candidate in this race. And I'm, grateful for the opportunity and look forward to serving Dallas County.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Mareen, for coming in, and I hope I wish you the best.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All righty. Bye.
Mic check. It's co-file Chris with the clarity, breaking down the system like a tech barbarity. Civic Hub's live surfing knowledge like a tsunami, rolling through the info smooth Maserati. Civic vibes, we innovate and elevate. Local government shift, let's recalibrate. Tech meets transparency, the gap we abbreviate. Civic Hub anthem, come participate. Street lights buzzing, city halls we navigate. Machines in the council throwing out the candidate. Blockchain buzzing, Chris gonna moderate. Algorithm steering votes, lines automate. Plug in, gather round this pod like it's holy. Future blueprint drafted digitally solely. Ideas hatch quick, think it's gotta be Goldie. The Civic Hub thrives where the minds all moldy. Policy precision sharper than a switchblade. Red tape slayer, break it open with the upgrade. AI council, tech dreams don't cascade. We building the future, bricks cut from the data spade.